Welcome back to my channel. Today I kind of wanted to do a day in my life type of vlog. I might vlog a little bit tomorrow, but throughout today I really want to talk about how to not feel so alone while you're working and building your dream life. One of you guys had asked me to make a video about that because you're struggling with working on yourself, working on your dreams, your goals, and you're feeling really lonely in your life. And I think that that has been my story of my life for many years. I think that when I started my self-development journey without even realizing I was really starting it around age 16, leading up to now, there were so many times in my life where I felt very isolated and very alone. There were many times where I was very isolated and alone. And I think that I have some pretty good tips on how to not feel like that while you're building your dream life. And I actually think now I live such a more healthy, more balanced life that although there's many times that I feel alone, I'm not really lonely. I don't feel like I'm very disconnected to the world, even as, let's say, I'm working on my own stuff. I'm tunnel vision. I have a goal and I'm very focused. And when I was younger, I definitely felt very lonely. And so as you saw this morning, I made some coffee, I ended up having a banana, some beef jerky, I went outside and I journaled, I went on a walk, I ate some food. And some of the things that I did this morning are things that actually make me feel less alone as I'm focusing on myself. And this is what I mean. When I wake up, and I do my journaling. That is something that we're doing for our self-development. Or even when I go out and I have my hot girl walk, you know, we're moving our bodies, we're taking care of ourselves, whatever. These are things that I don't look at as things that take me away and disconnect me away from people. And if anything, these are things that allow me to be more present in my relationships, for me to be more present in life. When I connect with myself in the morning by journaling, that allows me to be able to feel alive. When I am disconnected from myself and my thoughts and my goals and my future, or reflecting on the past, that's when I start to feel really alone. And so even though the act of journaling, the act of not being on your phone in the morning and connecting with yourself might feel like you're really alone, you're really not. And if anything, you're with yourself. And I think a lot of the times when we feel alone, it's because we're not connected to ourselves. Another thing that allows me to feel less alone when I'm building my dream life, working on my goals, is to listen to podcasters, listen to content creators, reading books, taking courses, or obviously talking to people in real life. Like, let's say, I remember like when I would go to school, like these are ways in which I would connect with people. All of these things allow me to feel less alone. I live by myself, and I've lived by myself for a very long time. And I also work for myself. So I am doing a lot of things in my daily life that are technically alone. But I don't feel super alone when I connect with myself, when I get myself out of my environment by going on walks, going to the gym, having a coffee at the coffee shop, listening to a podcast episode that's, you know, telling me about something that's new that's happening in the world of content creation or the world of business or whatever it is, sending voice notes to my friends, things like that. Like, there's so many more ways in which you can connect and not feel so alone. So today is a work day, like most days. I'm doing a Q&A actually on my Instagram, which go follow me on there if you have not, Alicia Gogan. So I've just been answering questions throughout the day. I have to do my bookkeeping today. I have a coaching call. I have a lot of emails and like brand stuff that I need to like work out. So this day is definitely a day in which I am alone, like very much so alone. But one thing I do like to remind myself of when I'm, you know, having the days where, yeah, I'm grinding and I'm working, is most people who have similar goals to me, whether that like be they are content creators or not, like let's say you have completely different goals, but you're on the same journey as me, I should say, the same journey. Everyone else is kind of working on themselves too. Like you know, not everyone, because sometimes I feel like when we feel alone, we feel like everyone else is living their best life, and like all my friends are out doing like connecting and having fun and this, that. But realistically, there's so many people, probably your age, I'm 27, in your 20s, a little bit younger or older, whatever, that are just focusing on trying to make a living, trying to hit their goals, building their dream life, things like that. Like, I feel like we're all collectively working towards creating this life that we really want. So you really aren't alone. Like, I'm doing it as well, so are you. So with that said, let's get to work. I have bookkeeping to do and I really don't want to do it. So for me, I am a content creator, as you guys know, and I am basically a business owner. So I have myself registered as a business. So any money that I make from brands, from AdSense, from my physical products or my services, things like that, every month I go into an Excel spreadsheet and then I write in how much money I made. And then I have expenses. So I write out all the things that I've spent on my business, any money that I've put towards doing any courses or just anything to support me as a business, which is a little bit different than a like brick and mortar business, but whatever. I am the business, I am the product, I am the brand. But I didn't do that last month because I was traveling and I got back and I was sick and this, that. So I basically have, well, no, I have 1 month that I still need to catch up on. So I want to do that now. I want to go through all my receipts, all of my stuff that I need to do. So let's get that done so I can feel a little bit more better and more organized in my life, because I feel like this is something that's just been sitting on my shoulders and I don't want it to be sitting on my shoulders anymore. I am done my tracking for the month. One thing I was thinking about though, when it comes to working towards your dream life, I think sometimes it's important for you because like, okay, we have goals that we want to accomplish. We want to be better with our money. We have financial goals. We have career goals. Let's say you want to grow on social media, like whatever it is. Sometimes we get lost in the day-to-day tasks of working towards that goal, which is fine. We're in the process, we're doing these things, but sometimes it's good for you to remind yourself of why it is that you're doing these actions in the first place. And I think the reason why I was thinking about that is because I'm sitting here monthly and I'm looking at the money that I've made. I'm looking at where I've spent my money. I'm looking at all the things that I've done this month. And it just makes me more appreciative and more excited and reminds me as to why or what it is that I'm doing every single day, how these actions are working towards this dream life of mine. And then it gets me excited again. So I don't feel so alone, because sometimes I just feel like we get lost in these mundane tasks and we kind of like lose sight as to why it is that we're doing this in the first place. And sometimes you do have to remind yourself, like, this period of my life right now, this is so important that I am in the process and I'm taking these actions. And yes, it might be a little bit boring and lonely sometimes, but I'm working towards something, and that something is whatever your goals are. That's why I love to have like weekly sit downs and write in my planner what I'm going to be doing for the week. I like to look at my year like quarterly. So every 3 months I like to plan ahead for the seasons to come, and I like to think about all the things that I want to do so I'm more excited. I'm making mood boards. I'm always like getting inspired and rebranding myself so that I'm just excited for life, because again, sometimes when you're working towards things in your life, it can be a little boring and mundane, but you got to remind yourself, like, I'm doing this for a reason, and the reason is way bigger than the thing that I'm doing right now that makes me feel a little lonely. And also, it's okay to be a little bit lonely. Like sometimes when I do feel a little bit alone and like nobody is on the same journey as me or whatever, I always just tell myself a new story, because the stories we tell ourselves are the reason why we feel good or bad a lot of the times. So I remind myself that this is not going to be forever. I remind myself that there's so many other people who are doing the exact same thing as me, that the grind that I'm on right now, which I want to be careful with saying grind because I don't really grind and hustle, like burn myself out, but the grind that I'm on right now, it is so important that I do this more than anything else, more than wasting my time going out and doing things that don't make me very happy. And this is why I say this as well. Because when we're lonely, we want to like go out and have fun and do a bunch of stuff that everyone else seems to be doing, but we feel like we're on this grind and like we're the only ones working. Yes, it's good to go and live your life and be social and things like that. But I find when I am not working on my dream life, my goals, you know, getting my shit done, and I go out and I try and like live my life and have these relationships, I find I am not as connected with people. I am not as happy when I'm out trying to socialize, when my life at home is a mess, basically, when I haven't been working on my goals or I'm not happy with how things are going in this side of my life. All right, so now that that is done, like I said, I have a coaching call at 2:30. We're gonna be talking probably a lot about content creation. So I'm gonna sit down and write a few notes that I think will be important for this call. And what else? I need to get back to a lot of emails, honestly. I have a lot of brand work coming up, especially now that fall and winter. I know winter is not here at all and it's not coming anytime soon, but it is in the content creator space and the influencer space. So there's a lot of brands who are running campaigns or they're getting ready for their campaigns, and so they're putting in the work now. So like they're finding the people that they want to work with, they're, you know, getting ready to produce the products or whatever it is that they're talking about. Like it's crazy how much planning and implementing goes into things such as doing brand deals or working with companies. Although I heavily do create content based off of the season of life that I'm going through, the things that I'm going through, I always put that on the top of my list before anything else. Like I don't sit down and plan a lot of things and stick to it every single time. In fact, sometimes I try and do that, but I don't like, that's not the end all be all. If that this week comes up and something else happens that I think is more important for me to share online, I'm gonna do that versus the list that I've created. But I still, of course, need to create the list and think about some of the things that are coming up. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of planning that can go into things, especially depending on your goals, right? Like for me, I have my podcast, I have my YouTube channel, my Instagram, things like that. I have a lot of different platforms. I really am focusing on trying to grow the podcast channel. If you're not following or you're not subscribed on there, please subscribe. If you want to see me and listen to me, of course, I have it on Spotify as well and Apple. But yeah, that's one of my big goals for the season. And with that type of goal, especially, I don't know a lot of people who are building podcast studios and podcasting and all that kind of stuff. Like not all of my friends are doing it. How I feel less alone is looking at people online who are doing the same thing, finding podcasters who give you tips and advice and whatever. And I feel like, honestly, like I have heavily relied on the internet, and I want to be careful with saying that too, because again, it's important for you to go and connect with people. But depending on the goal that you have, like there's just not gonna be people in your immediate life that probably know or can give you advice that you need. And so thankfully, because we have the internet though, there is an endless plethora of people online talking about whatever it is that you're interested in. I am telling you, whatever it is that you wanna do, go on YouTube, you will find somebody teaching you, you will find a book, you will find a podcast, you will find something. You are not alone. You have to be resourceful though. I feel like a lot of people, they don't know the answers, they don't know what to do, this, that. Go online and I promise you will find an answer. So anyways, I'm gonna get back to work and I will see you guys in a bit. Hello guys, I just finished my coaching call and I'm eating yogurt right now. Greek yogurt with honey and frozen berries and granola and dark chocolate. So freaking good. I'm kind of rushing because it went a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, and I made a nail appointment at 4:30 because I need to get my nails done and I need to just do it now. So I'm gonna send a quick follow-up email, eat this, and go. But one thing I was gonna say is, like, when you're working towards your dream life and you're really focused and you're kind of feeling alone, it's so good to break up your day. And what I mean by that is, even if you don't work from home, for you, let's say if you work at a 9 to 5, or you know, you're working in the morning at home and then you're going to work, whatever, don't fill up your entire day with work or goals, or it's going to feel, it's gonna feel like too much. Like, you don't need to rush towards every single goal all the time. That's another thing. I feel like sometimes we get so laser focused and we just need to actually live our lives and go out. And for me personally, I love to go on walks. I made a nail appointment in the middle of my day. There was many times when I would do my social media, and then I would go to work serving, and I felt like my whole entire day was just like filled with working. And I realized I'm not going to, because this is what I would do actually. I remember when I was serving, I had usually 2 different shifts. I would have a shift where I would open in the morning at either 10:30 or 12 o'clock, either way it was around the same time, or 5 p.m. And so sometimes I would try and do any editing or like basically editing in the morning before my opening shift, but my opening shift would be all day. So I wouldn't get home until around like 8, 9, or 10, maybe I was closing 11 o'clock. And so my whole entire day would be done. And so I realized I can't do any of my social media work on the mornings where I don't have a lot of time in the morning, because it just drains me. I need to have a morning routine. I need to relax. I can't have my whole entire day be all about work and all about my goals. So I started making days where I would batch film my content on the days where I'd start work at 5 p.m. So there'd be a few days of the week where I would spend a lot of my day. Even then I would make some like time for me to eat and move and like live my life, but I wouldn't pack my whole entire day up. And I think that it's so important for you to remember, like, yes, we have goals. Yes, we want to build this dream life, but life is also worth living right now. And I think that profound things and connections will happen in real life as well. And it's totally okay for you to take a break and go and do nothing to do with anything to do with your goals, your dream life, whatever. So anyways, I'm gonna eat this, send the email, go get my nails done, and we'll be back. We are back. My place is a mess. I need to clean it up, but I need to talk about something very quickly. Oh my gosh, I'm literally so sore from the gym yesterday. So I was getting my nails done. I just got like an almond shape in this pink color. I don't ever usually get this, but I was kind of done with the white tips. I don't know. I want to move back to just natural nails now that summer is like kind of winding down. I don't know why I keep talking about it as if summer's really over. Like, I need to stop speaking that into existence. But I ended up listening to a podcast episode on the Skinny Confidential. Fun fact, the Skinny Confidential is the first podcast I ever listened to. And to this day, I still love listening to Lauren and Michael. I think that they are fucking badasses. They've literally built such an empire. I remember like back in the day listening to Lauren and Michael too on the podcast and just thinking like, wow, like she really knows what she's doing when it comes to being a content creator. And this is before like podcasts were even like super big, or Instagram. Well, Instagram was big, but like she was definitely one of the people that paved the way for lifestyle influencers and everything like that. So I love that podcast, if you're wondering. But I was listening to one of their episodes, and it's called 5 Career and Business Mistakes to Avoid in Life and What We Wish We Knew Earlier. They talked about a bunch of things, but one of the things that they were talking about was that when you're young, try and do as much as you can. And, you know, like put in the hours, put in more hours than you think you should, whatever. And then Lauren was talking about how the trend right now is like the soft life and being gentle and slow living, which I'm so about. We know that hustle culture is like out and slowing down is in. And she was even saying, and this is something that I do too, right? Is like, she still tries to be gentle with herself. Like she gives herself breaks. And not even like necessarily breaks and doing nothing, but like she has her workouts, she has her slow morning, she time blocks things to like spend with her family and her kids, things like that, things outside of work. But she was saying like, you know, if you want to be extraordinary, if you want to be having these goals that you have, it's going to require you to work, especially when you have the time, when you're younger. Do as much as you can. And it's crazy because I remember when I used to listen to her, she used to talk about her story of how she got to where she was just being a podcaster and like a blogger, moving into the Instagram space. And she used to be some sort of like server / bartender, and she was like a Pilates instructor or something. And anytime she had free time on her shifts, she would literally posts on her blog. That is literally what I did for so many years. I remember I used to work at a golf course, and on the days that it was like very dead, there was a computer that we would type in all of their orders. And when it was dead, I would go on the internet and I would educate myself on like any topic that I wanted to. I was really into health and wellness. I wanted to create a blog. I did all that kind of stuff. This is even before I heard of her podcast. And this is not even a time where I ended up becoming a content creator, but I always kind of had that mindset of like, if there's downtime, I'm working towards something. Even if I don't know what it is right now, I'm gonna continue to work. And that was another thing that Michael was saying too, was like, you know, people ask them all the time, well, I don't know my purpose, I don't know my passion, I don't know what I should do with my life. You're not gonna know, you just have to start. And what you'll find is like, you'll go to school for one thing and then you'll realize, oh, I don't really like this, or maybe I do like this and I'm gonna go in this direction. Or you started your channel and you started talking about one topic and you realize people keep asking you about, oh, like you seem to be really good in this area, like can you tell me more about this? And then you're able to give them advice about the fact that you're really productive, or you built a business, or like whatever you did, and like that's how you kind of find your way in life. And I just think that it's literally so true. And for me, I actually made a video, which you guys need to watch if you're interested in this type of video. I made a video on how to build your dream life while working a 9 to 5, because it's literally what I did. Before I went full-time here, I worked at a tech company and I was a health and wellness coordinator. I worked basically a 9 to 5 job. Like the hours were like, sometimes there were different shifts, but they were like Monday to Friday, whatever. And when I wasn't working, I was serving because I needed money and I needed to make, like, I just needed to pay my bills. And on top of that, when I had time, any free time, I would work on my social media. I started my TikTok, I started getting good at that, I started figuring out what I really like to talk about, and then eventually when I had time, I started my podcast, and eventually I started my YouTube channel, and I kept growing that, and I kept working, and all the days that like I had free time, majority of the time I was putting in the work. Now, I learned how to work smarter, not harder, meaning like what I told you, on my long days that I was serving, I wasn't gonna pile a bunch of work in the morning. I would time bad. The days that I had a half day at work, which was still a long day, but I started at 5 o'clock, that's when I would sit down and I would batch my TikToks, I would batch my podcast episodes, I would edit things. Like I had a plan and I implemented that to the point where now I have a life where I have so much more time freedom. And even now in my life, I am still trying to find ways in which I can work towards my dream life. And that honestly even inspired me too, because sometimes I get, and this is what happens sometimes when you reach a level of success where it kind of keeps you comfortable, you can kind of slip. You can kind of like, especially when you work for yourself, it's like, I don't have to work today. Like I don't really need to, but that kind of reminded me, but also like, I'm always in that mindset, but still like, I have other things that I want to accomplish in my life and I have the time now to do that. He was also saying like, it's not that you don't have time when you're older, but you're probably not gonna have the responsibility of having kids or being in a marriage or whatever it is. And personally for me, I want those things and I don't wanna have to put in all of these hours and all of this work when I'm a little bit older, when I wanna spend more time with my kids. Does that mean I'm not gonna work? No, I'm absolutely going to do that. But because I have the time, why not do it? Why not build my dream life? Why let the feeling sometimes of loneliness get in the way of me building a life that is gonna be most likely even better than I could ever imagine, because it's something that I work towards. And I think that when we're building our dream lives, it's because there's probably things in our life that we don't necessarily love. We didn't get things handed to us. And that is very normal for most people. But if you want this vision, this life, it's gonna require you to put in that time and that effort. And I think something that you need to do is to tell yourself that it's not gonna be forever. There's a lot of people who are doing it. You absolutely can do it. You have to have belief in yourself. You gotta keep trying, even if you feel like you're failing, even if you feel like you're a mess, keep going. This is the time to do it. But also allow yourself to just live out your life. Like, you don't have to get that end goal right now. Like I know my vision of how I want my life to be in my 30s and 40s, it's going to come, it's already done. Okay, I do not know where I just left off because I had to get on a call very quickly. But to sum everything up, if you are feeling lonely, if you're even feeling lost as you are on this journey of life, okay? It is gonna be okay. There's so many of us that are going through the same thing. It is also not gonna be like this forever. I even told myself when I was working my 2 regular jobs and building my social media, there's gonna be an end in a way. Like, I'm gonna have more time freedom. It's not gonna be like this forever. And even now, I'm still working towards things, but it's different. I have more time, I have more energy, I have more everything. So I just think that like things end up getting better in your life, but they're not gonna get better unless you put in that work, upfront work, and then that's when you'll start to reap the rewards and the benefits of your hard work. Again, we don't want to burn ourselves out. We don't want to like go into this hustle and this grind. We can learn how to work smarter, not harder, by like doing time batching and learning how to be more productive with our time, and you know, setting some time to be very intentional with our work, putting away our phones and going to sleep at the proper times, and you know, getting in our walks as we're listening to a podcast, all those really good things. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a podcast episode about that, like productivity. I can definitely do that. But yeah, I don't know. That's just what I'm on right now. If you guys like this type of video, if you want more day in the life, let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.